How do you see this war and its aftermath affecting the wider world, given that it's not only a regional war, but it's become a global war, a world war in many respects? And you've talked about this being not just a prelude, but actually a part of a World War III scenario that we are in.
Right. So people don't really appreciate how unique and unsustainable the American unipolar moment was. Think about this, where just an average American, okay, and we're just talking about like a middle class American. Well, he can have any day of the week, okay, for breakfast, avocados from Mexico, white wines from Chile. He can book a flight on the website and very cheaply fly to Maldives for a week-long vacation and just US dollars to pay for everything. He can go to Europe for the summer. For the internet, he can communicate with people from all around the world. And this is unsustainable because a lot of it depends on people's belief that the American empire is invincible, and therefore I have no choice but to be a vassal to this empire. And that's what sustains this unipolar moment. But now that you have this aura of inevitability and invincibility collapse, punctured by this war in Iran, then people no longer believe in the American empire. And so what you'll see are three major trends happen in the next 5 to 10 years. And quite honestly, the nations that are most willing to embrace these three trends will emerge from the collapse of empire the most vibrant. Okay, and these three major trends are: number one, deindustrialization and deurbanization. Okay, so what I mean by that is that it is silly that we have so many mega cities around the world. Think about how many cities with 10 million plus people there are around the world. And it's silly and stupid because we depend on food to live. And these people in the cities, they're not growing food. And where they're getting food is importing this food from overseas or internally. Okay, so you have basically the specialization of agriculture throughout the world, where basically just one nation just does one cash crop, growing bananas or avocados, whatever. Okay, but that's just really silly to do. But you can do this as long as you have cheap oil, because cheap oil allows you the fertilizers to grow food, but also cheap oil allows you to transport this food throughout the world. But again, it's all premised on cheap oil. What happens when the cheap oil goes away? Well, you have food supply issues, okay? So these 10 million people in the cities doing whatever, whether it's cryptocurrency scams or gambling on Polymarket or engaging in derivatives, creating derivatives, creating AI, like it's all just useless and silly. People need to grow food and so that we can eat. Okay, so if you are really into AI, guess what? You're going to be really screwed without access to cheap energy. So stop this AI stupidity and go back to growing food. Okay, so that means getting people out of the cities and back to the farmland to grow food, to create more sustainable supply chains. And again, you have to do this or your people are going to starve. I'm telling this entire world, okay? Give up your delusions about AI. It does nothing. It'll get you nowhere. Make sure your people have access to food and water.